Harry, pop on your spectacles, because it is time for another Andy book. This is DC's Who Is Who, issue 3 of the 1987 update. And we have some good characters in here, and one of them is showing us a rump on the cover. Here is the full piece. It's alright. Normally, I explain what these Andy books are for newcomers, but I kind of keep doing that in every Andy book video I do, otherwise it becomes tedious. Plus, I do want to talk about the very first profile, which is the grey area. This is the bad guy from some of the first Justice League International issues. Very good story, that one. I recommend it highly. They bring the grey area back later and sort of crap out with them. Here is Green Lantern's corpse. This is the Steve Engeltine era squad. Jordan Albert, Alvin Stewart, Gary Gardner, and the rest. Two of them have individual profiles later on in this, so expect to see more of them. The art is by Joe Station, as is the art over here for the Smurfs, the bosses of the Green Lanterns. We get some significant profiles in here. We have some major stuff covered, but also some stuff I have never even heard of. The reason I chose this one to look at is because it has an updated entry for Infiniteers. And the last Who Is Who I looked at had an ad profile for them. Some improvements here are Supergirl is considered part of the team again. And we have some of the second generation members like Minuteman, Elka, and Captain Midnight. But some downsides are we have Mr. Grumpy and Mr. Bean with the team. And I never really liked either of them allying with the heroes like this. There is Simon Williams, as featured in Pratt Sons comic. He was a member of the Stir Fry Squadron, the Young Stir Fries, and he is the only one of that team that made any real appearances after that series ended. And they are nearly all in Pratt's Son, where he becomes a mentor figure and a red herring to the identity of the main character's father. Johnny Constant, absolutely no mention of Newcastle in his profile. Albert Moore was still writing Man-Thing at this point. Or maybe he had just finished, which means this character having any connection to Newcastle is on its deathbed. The last thing comics needed at the time was another Cockney spouting character. I've said it a few times, but to reiterate, I believe fully this character was created as a Geordie. First, he outright mentions Newcastle in one of his first appearances. I cannot remember the context, but the idea is that he had been in Newcastle at some point. He had spent some of his past in Newcastle. Secondly, one of the inspirations for how the character looks was Sting, who is a Geordie. I had a third point, but I forgot what it was. This Justice League profile is iconic to me. I remember this was included as a bonus at the back of one of the Justice League International trades, so I know this well. Bad news is that Wonder Woman is missing due to the retcons to her history. And give it a year or two and Superman would be removed from this as well. We have all of Justice League Detritus still counting as canon after a reset, but we cannot get Wonder Woman. Also missing is Pantsless Stranger. Some of us could probably be included too. Willie West Flask, Shrek Boy. Actually, yeah, include the Legends team, and you could still have Wonder Woman there. Alvin Stewart, Myxomatosis, formerly known as Albino Man, Black Light Man, and someone else who I always fucking forget when it comes to iffy Justice League members of the Silver and Bronze Ages. Nice art by Kevin Magoo, and I always love seeing Captain Marbles, the real one, Biffy Baston, with the Justice League. Comet Man. It was Comet Man, I forgot. I always fucking forget him. Katniss over here, the Purple People Eater. You weren't expecting me to remember exactly what I called this character in one video 5 years ago, did you? I was freewheeling back then. Purple People Eater is a shit name for her, so now it's Katniss. Didn't she die not long after this? Kill Placenta, one of the worst named characters in comics. His terrible name almost endears him. He was created by Baron Michael, one of the least intelligent writers out there, and he was introduced as a Flask bad guy, even though he has no purpose or excuse to be a Flask bad guy, as evidenced by the fact that Flask cannot even beat him. Flask has to call in Sideburns to actually fight him. I think I have those two issues. I cannot find them though. I have wanted to do some more of that badly written run for a while. Cannot say this character's name. The final syllable is a racist term. And put together, it sounds like I am suggesting we kill them all. In Australia, it's fine. They say it all the time in Australia. But in other parts of the world, it is considered an offensive slur. I have his first appearance. Maybe one of the more valuable first appearances I have. Kite Man. I've got to mention Kite Man. I have nothing to say about him, but if I don't point out Kite Man, there'll be someone in the comments saying, I cannot believe you didn't point out Kite Man. Here is a shithole. Bigger shithole than Wrexham. Burn down Crippleton. That's my motto. Terrible place. They were all knobheads on Crippleton. Now, here is a threesome I would rush towards. This is, of every Andy book in existence, I think this spread offers us the ultimate threesome. I'm sure there are other ones where we have two women side by side, but here we've got two tens side by side. I'm not apprehensive at all about announcing this as the best possible threesome you can source on a page spread of Andy books. Maybe Canary and her mum, they were on the same spread. That'd be alright. But that one would also be incest. But I wouldn't be the one doing the incest. They would, so maybe that's alright. May I surprise you? I have never had a threesome, but I would be up for this in a heartbeat. This would be the best day of your life if you had this threesome. Here is an Imperial Substitutes team. For a squad of people not good enough for the main team, This is pretty powerful. Lenny Luthor, this is when he was getting a bit podgy. He will get chubbier, but then he'll shed his weight and grow that horrible ginger mane with a mullet and a beard. And he'll start having a creepy relationship with Supergirl. Who is your favourite character or team featured in here? I actually skipped quite a few profiles in this one because I felt the ones I had stuff to say about would take up longer. You know what? I'll quickly go through and show the ones I didn't cover. These two, an Infinitia's bad guy and one of the Eternals, Wonder Woman's mom, and some weird Nimrod wannabe. I did show these, but I already forgot they existed. Two Justice Society of Superheroes enemies here, one of the Unjustice teams. This one fought Infinitias. Suicide Squad bad guys. The Giads. I was iffy about covering them because the Giad never sat right with me as a name. Not because I am a little pussy who is worried it's offensive. It's not really. It just doesn't sound comic booky enough to me. It needs an adjective, or to be called the Giad of Doom or something. That's my opinion. On the right is one of the Eternals, one of Darkseid's main guys, who I likely have already given a name, but I cannot remember off the top of my head. And on the left is a character I've never even heard of before. At this rate, I needn't even skip them. I could have just done all this while flipping through. I'll make note of that for next time. I just didn't like the idea of the Giads' biggest fans saying Justice League was their favourite team because they didn't realise the Giad was in here. I love this Andy book. I think there's some really exciting characters profiled in here. And then also some duds. I'll give this helping 7 thumbs up.